This is the Rational Magic 50 card opening extravaganza. Get to see what we pull. And I'm trying to put up a rating for a lot of these cards. Give a good estimate of what's here. I'm only really going to be evaluating the rare, as this is 50 packs. Mythos of Brokos is attempting to be a tutor. Search the library for a card, put that card into your graveyard. And then return up to 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So it's sort of like a 4-mana tutor. It's trying really hard to be a 4-mana tutor. For 2 cards instead of 1. I mean, the 4-mana black tutor isn't played that much in legacy formats, but it's fine. Might play that for flavor. The tutors are generally like so overpriced that I never feel good about actually buying them in paper, so maybe I just play that one. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards, beginning of your end step, discard your hand. The problem with this card is that you discard your hand on your end step. You go to your following turn. If the card that you draw is a land, you can do nothing that turn. So this is like a really ambitious draw spell that just ends up being completely dead and screwing you over a lot. Like the times that you draw a relevant card, then you can just chain this for a very long time, and it's very efficient. If you draw a land card off the top of your deck, you're just essentially not doing anything. So I guess like this in combination with, I don't know, like Vivian, the Vivian who lets you play off the top of your library. That's so stupid to say that this 3-color 4-mana card is good if you have one of the best planeswalkers ever printed on the battlefield. Like, you need like the $30 green card lets you play lands off your library, whatever that is. It takes a lot to make this good. And then it goes off. Bonder's Enclave is great. They just basically printed Castle Lochthwain as a common card. I'm a little bit worried about what that's going to do for like blue decks and mana sinks, but I suppose the blue castle is even better than that. So that might be my 3rd or 4th Urgent Ultimatum. Yeah, it's time to build the hard cast Emergent Ultimatum deck. The funny thing is, like, the ultimatums all synergize stupidly well with the 5-mana tap for Wooburg Colors of Mana, but you can't have that card as your companion if you're running ultimatums because they beat. Oh, they need to remove that stupid bug. It's not even a bug; it's just like poor design. Nothing too pretty about that rare anyway. If you click anywhere but on this card, it just like skips the entire thing. Gem Razor is sweet. This is a fantastic card. I already have a few of them. I've been running them in Constructed. I love pulling them in drafts. Love that card. The flash deck is pretty cool. The black-blue flash deck. Not exactly the Sultai gross thing that just wrecks everyone. Frondland is just a good card. There's nothing interesting to me about a tap-down card like that, but I won't say it isn't powerful. First Gogla I've opened. This is just becoming a staple in Constructed. It's just very solid creature, big body, comes down, it fights something, has a kind of roundabout way of protecting itself, and it just naturally combats artifacts and enchantments. Just does everything that green wants passively for you. It's kind of like the new Questing Beast, where they just threw stats at a card until they thought, like, hey, that's good. People will probably run that, right? Slither Wisp, pretty cool. I definitely like want to build a deck around that. It's going to be this type of card. Like, I love the artwork. I love the text of the card. I know that when I build a deck around it, it's just going to be the most like annoying ass disgusting thing to play against. Like, this is not This is the epitome of fun for you and crap for your opponents. This is not the place you want to be in. Necropanther has been cool, but he's kind of underwhelming. Recluse is good enough that I'm considering playing it in Constructed. 3 color lands. Pretty see. That's what I want to open in packs and not in drafts. I want to collect them to play with, but I sure as hell don't want to open them when I'm drafting. When it could have been some insane bomb. Another dual land. I don't think this has application in Constructed. It's just too slow, spending 2 mana. Maybe if you have the discounting thing, just run an activated ability discount deck. Garuda, one of the best companions they printed. Kind of insane. It's insane to me that like one of the best decks in the meta right now is just pure ramp with Garuda as your companion, and that deck runs 3 Garudas in the main board, including Garuda in the sideboard as your playable companion, because it can search itself. It doesn't even matter that like it can find itself, because it'll trigger twice even though one of them dies. You want to play this on turn 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. You're gonna play it every single turn. They definitely overtuned the companions. They overtuned mutate. I'm willing to like put my foot down in the sand and say they overtuned mutate. They're like, it breaks the traditional rules of Magic in the sense that a spell with no target fizzles. That's just how the game has always worked, as far as I'm aware. But in with the mutate, it's a casting cost. It has a target. If the target's removed, it enters the battlefield anyway. It doesn't have summoning sickness, even if the board state goes from 0 creatures being in play to a mutate creature entering the battlefield, because it technically transformed nothing into something. It doesn't have summoning sickness. It's pretty dumb. So companion, mutate, the 2 big mechanics of the set are just like front and center pushed. I love this card. I built a pretty sweet deck I've been climbing ladder with entirely around this card, and it's super fun. Menace is that like kind of gimmicky combat ability that's like good against particular decks and does nothing against others, but it's fun. It's pretty fun. Another Song of Creation. I have 3 or 4 of these now. Parcel Beast is insane. Highly playable. I think it's definitely constructed worthy. Quartz Wood Crasher is a nutty card for 5 mana, not 6 mana. None of you are aware. I don't know if you were aware, but this costs 5 mana, not 6 mana. Don't look for that in my videos. Don't even comment on that. Pretty sick. If you can give this haste, it's a lot, much better. But pretty sick. I'm so glad they don't do the Rainbow Six thing where you're like, here's a package. Unzip the package. Open the package. Inside the package, you found a package. What's in the package? I don't know. It's a freaking dumb icon. The most annoying thing about Rainbow Six Siege. Chevelle is sick. I want Chevelle in all my decks. I want to run him as a commander. I had a dream about Chevelle, but we don't talk about that. No. Chevelle is sick. Vivian. I can't even get excited for this card. We've had just like... We've had this terrible recurring standard. There's been a recurring theme of standard, which is the format is dominated by the most OP planeswalkers at the time. Like they just... I started to look like the developers at WotC were like seriously looking at planeswalkers and the... What are honestly like a lot of mistakes have been made in the design of planeswalkers. And it seemed like they were figuring it out. They were like, okay, we're gonna have uncommon planeswalkers with no ultimate. Just take out ultimates altogether. It's fantastic. They still went the route of putting like permanent denial. We still have the Narsets and the Teferis. Even the Tamios just has some static deniability, which was shit. Like, it would have been so much better if we didn't have static denial abilities on what is already an infinite value engine. Like, they didn't need to go that route. We've had to deal with Nisa Who Shakes the World being the most OP shit since ever. It's just been around forever now. Everyone's sick of it. I hate that every time I build a green deck, I basically have to put that card in, or my deck is objectively worse. And now what do we have? You better only play Planeswalkers at 5 mana. Because Vivian Monster's Advocate is broken. Static ability. Look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Static ability. You can play off the top of your library. You don't need to do anything for that. +1. Generates 3/3s with your choice of Vigilance or Reach. So, plus ability creates a 3/3 token. Yeah. I mean, Ugin creates 2/3 tokens. This creates 3/3 tokens with combat abilities. Excellent at protecting itself. That's already amazing. And then, I don't know. Whoever designed this card, like, they must have finished a second time making a mess of themselves. Because when they got to the bottom of the card, they decided, oh, when you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost, put it onto the battlefield. It's -2. You can do it the turn this comes out. It has a -2 tutor that cheats mana cost. It's a -2 tutor that cheats mana cost, goes to the battlefield, that you can play the turn this comes out. We have the most powerful Nisa to contend with in Standard. We have the most powerful Vivian to contend with in Standard. I don't know. I've had this consistent feeling this last few sets. Okay, getting a bit real here. WotC have done an incredible job in designing sets. I think they just keep getting better. They keep getting more interesting every set that comes out. I'm like, wow, they've been doing this for 20 years. There's been a real turnaround where, like, the sets are just good. They're just really interesting. It doesn't mean they aren't printing their, like, Oko Veil of Summer cast through time something, whatever the free 0 cost 2-minute thing was. Like, they went so overboard they had to ban 3 cards in the same deck that came out in the same set. Like, that's how off the rails WotC got with the power level of design, is that in the same release they had to ban 3 cards from a single deck. But they're still doing it. There's still this, like, masturbatory process of them, like, making sticky planeswalkers. They just have the stickiest planeswalkers. There better be a sleeve on this planeswalker, because you know it's sticky, right? You know Vivian's sticky. We know WotC. And that's why I can't get excited for this card. But, moving on. Ikoria pack 33 opened. Necropanther is a card I want to love, but is just beaten out by a lot of very powerful 3-drops. There's the 3-mana companion, who's just a 3/2 that lets you play cards from your graveyard that are CMC 2 or less. I don't know. There's probably room for it somewhere. I'll play it. Sick. We need these. We need as many of these as possible. The sad thing is, after opening 50 packs, I probably won't be able to craft a deck. I probably won't be able to, like, look at a deck that's like good, that's interesting, and build everything I want after opening 50 cards. It's maybe not. I have been drafting a lot, so that changes things, but I just kind of skipped over the last card because I have so many of them. Mythos of Snap decks. Each player chooses an artifact, creature, enchantment, and a planeswalker from among non-land permanents they control and sacrifices the rest. If you spend black, red on top of the white, so 4 strict mana, you choose permanents for each player instead. At base, this is trash. Like most of the Mythos, they're not even worth playing at base unless you can play them perfectly for that exact 4 mana. And then, I don't know. I guess you're catching up. It's a 4 mana kill spell. The only thing they have lots of that they don't care about is usually creatures, but I guess there are situations where this blows out the game. It's just a lot of mana. It's 4 mana. Rogrin Triome. I should be reading these flavor text. Rogrin meets the sea with jaws wide, its coast spiked with the teeth of crystal and granite. Oh, that's actually like, that's pretty sick. That's a teethy coast. Only the most daring of surfers venture to this island. That'd be terrifying. Surfing on that island. That'd be terrifying. Okay. I think this is our like 3rd or 4th Eerie Ultimatum. Can I just play 4 of these in a deck? Is that even possible anywhere? I should do it, right? The only way to make sure you're going to be able to cast it is if you put 4 of them in your deck. I should just do it and not ask questions. And put 3 Chevelle in my deck, because he's manly man. He is probably smaller than the total volume of one of these eggs. Doesn't stop him. He's just sitting in the nest. He's just baiting. He's baiting whatever the hell this is. Come here, Godzilla. I don't care. I got a spiky sword. It's all you need in life. It's a real spiky sword. Umari. I love Umari. Umari's going in everything ever that I ever build. Umari is like my new staple every commander deck ever. Just going on in there. I wish he had flavor text, because this card deserves flavor text. Sadly, he does not. He does not. I think I can turn up the background music a little bit. Kanan, Bonder Prodigy. He's been making waves. I find this very boring. But he's very powerful. Just makes your mana source, rocks, whatever they are, tap for an extra mana. Yeah, real boring. I mean, you can do it. You can cast even more stuff. There's a million ways to just cast more stuff. Tricolor land. We're gonna collect those in no time. Just gonna have them. Tricolor land. Tricolor land. Tricolor land. Tricolor land. Tricolor land. Cub Warden is sick. The mutate deck is pretty sweet. Cub Warden isn't the best mutate spell on 4. I'm kind of looking for the Phoenixes, but I do have a pretty spicy deck with this. The big problem for 4 mana cards is there's a never-ending supply of good 4 mana cards that are all competing with one another. That's like the point in the curve where WotC just kind of go nuts. 3rd Amari we've collected. Definitely not playing 3. I'll play 2. I'll keep one beside me for comfort. Another Mythos of Brokos. The trouble with that card is, like, I want my graveyard deck to be black, white, green. But I suppose running 4 colors is not that hard to do anymore. Destroy all non-land permanents your opponents control. Why wouldn't I do that? Control's pretty scary right now. There's a lot of board wipes in white-red. It's pretty easy for them just to have never-ending kill stuff spells. I don't know what their win con is, if it's like Gideon or something, what the hell's going on there, but seems like it could go far. 50 packs, 5 rare, 2 mythic. So we can make a playset of rares and we can make half a playset of mythic for 50 packs, which is the equivalent of 50,000 dust, which is I think it's over $100 in value. Karuga's great. You only need 1 though. I suppose you can main deck this and sideboard it, or main deck it and companion it, which is technically sideboarding actually. Technically, actually sideboarding. Yeah. Another Gigantha. We're pretty stocked on Giganthas. Oh, this is the Phoenix! We also have the sick dragon art for this card. That's why I called it a dragon, I think, earlier, but I have unlocked the alternate Godzilla art. Classic Phoenixes. This is the sort of card that you usually just play as a 4-mana 4/4 on 4 and later mutate onto it for the guarantee of Feather thing. Feather thing's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm probably just going to be playing black, red, white, aggro, climbing the ladder, especially because I think it's like today or tomorrow where the ladder ends. So possibly this evening I'm just going to be grinding to gold. And maybe I'll record some of those games, maybe not. I have a backlog of videos that need to be edited right now. For when I relaunch the channel, which if this is live, I've already relaunched the channel, but yeah, I'm just gonna... Ooh, Dirge Bat is sick. I have 2 Dirge Bats right now. I want 4. I want all of them. Dirge Bat is great. He is great. Dirge Bat is great. This is my 4th Mythos. 3 mana, instant speed, destroy target non-land permanent. If it's a creature, or you spend exactly Abzan to kill a permanent. Pretty good. Gonna be a staple. It's gonna go up in price. I think it's like $1 or something to pre-order. That card's gonna go up. Yorion Sky Nomad. 4/5. When it enters, you flicker something. Scary card. And it's pretty easy to actually play 20 more cards than your starting deck. It's not too much of an ask, especially if you're running a ton of cantrips. Then the extra cards don't actually hurt. There are plenty of decks that are capable of milling themselves, and maybe you don't want to. If you're in blue-white, you're in the colors to make that happen. The weirdly redundant thing here is that you already have a great way of flickering. Like, everyone who thinks, who even dreams of flickering ever is running Thassa, and they count in the millions. So do you really need a 5-mana way to flicker when you have an indestructible 4-mana way to flicker for free every single turn? I guess you can double flicker. You can take 3 permanents a turn with the Agent of Treachery instead of 2 permanents a turn. If you want to just... I don't know. I don't know. Whoever plays that deck took part in designing Vivian. I don't know. Let's find more interesting ways to play Magic than Infinite Flicker. Mythic Rare. Garuda, that's my 4th Garuda. That might be my 4th Broodmoth, which is pretty sweet. I haven't found the way to combo this out. There definitely is a way. It's a very good card. 3/4, when a creature you control without flying dies, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. Definitely a way to abuse that. Even if you're not abusing it, it's very strong. Not sure what that deck is yet. It's the dick. Because like the sack deck right now is black, red, green. And we've also come to a point where sacrifice is over-supported. There's black, red, green sack. There is white, black sack. Everything can sack. Everything's getting sacked. It would be a way more interesting archetype if they just had never printed either Witch's Oven or Cauldron Familiar. Like that, I don't know why the hell they made a 2-card, like, infinite combo at uncommon and uncommon. Like, it's just... someone's living the Vivian life. Another Sky Nomad. Lava Brink Venture is pretty sweet. He's a human, so you can't mutate onto him. But it is protection. Last few packs here. Getting lots of mythics. I can basically have my pick of mythics now. 9 rare, 4 mythic. I have not seen this guy yet. Luca. Coppercoat Outcast. 5 mana, 3 and 2 red. +1, exile top 3 cards of your library. Creature cards exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control Luca the Planeswalker. Okay. So 5 mana, you drop enters with 5 loyalty, plus him to 6. Exile the top 3, you may cast those cards as long as you control a Luca. -2, exile target creature you control, then reveal cards inside your library until you reveal a creature card with higher converted mana cost. Put that card on the battlefield and the rest on top. Okay. So this is a turn 5, and you just exchange something on the board for something that is guaranteed higher CMC. And -7, each creature you control deals damage equal to a scroll bar, equal to its power to each opponent. What am I doing that? I mean, the minus tutor is what makes this card amazing. You're using that as often as possible. You can do it twice without ever having to plus him. You can tutor 2 cards into play. This seems insane. This seems insane to me. He's terrible in a winning position if you don't have board and you're just playing a 5-mana Planeswalker naked and plussing him to do nothing. Is bad, but most often you're just minusing him to tutor. I think he might be competitive, and I might try him out. So that was a very interesting last pick.